Another weekend over, another massive disappointment for Manchester United, losing the Manchester derby 3-1 to Manchester City at the Etihad. There was hope there for a while. We were holding on, but that's what it was, and all it was in the end. An absolute disaster of a second half for United, not registering one single attempt on goal, while City bagged 3 times and probably could have had more. Is it enough to just cling on to just one goal in a derby game like that? The tactics seem to be working for a certain amount of time. We're hearing Ten Hag talk. We're going to get into that. Bemoaning injuries again. And with me to dissect it all and get through the finer details of what went wrong for United today, we've got Jay. First of all, Jay, welcome to the show again. Pleasure having you on. We are going to just break it down straight to the point and kick us off, mate, with your thoughts initially with the difference in that first half to that second half. Why was it so much of a night and day episode, mate?
Okay, Adam, great to be here. Pleasure as always. So first thing, Marcus Rashford, scorer of great goals, not a great goal scorer, not a great footballer, scores a thunderbolt early on, and the fan base is losing their minds. I'm sitting there at home thinking, okay, this could this be our day? Could this be our day? And then he scores a goal and he goes back into his normal Marcus Rashford settings. That's another story that we're going to chat later on. I think for about 60 minutes, Adam, it worked. It worked. You've got the stats there on front of you, which we're going to go deep into. But really, this manager today for me, Adam, he's been shown up for what he really is. His subs, be it how many were enforced. We have a story coming out that Rashford was injured. I don't think, Adam, you're buying that. Johnny Evans possibly. Subs are poor at 1-1. Just grind it out. Just please, God, grind it out. And as usual, Adam's phrase we've used for many, many years now together, it's the hope that kills you. And today at 1-0, we were killed by a glimmer of hope.
Yep, that is it. It was a glimmer of hope. Michael Manning, welcome to the Members Club. General Foodie, thank you for that donation. Getting the likes, guys. At least we can start entertaining ourselves by talking real football here on this channel, because that's what we are going to do. And I'm going to kickstart that right now by let's going on what you said, Denjay, in terms of Marcus Rashford, scorer of great goals, not many goals, not a great player. I think he's a very good player. And that's about it. Today, he had the perfect start. He was teed up for him perfectly, and all he did, and I'm not taking anything away from Rashford, but I don't think I'll be the only person that's going to say this when I say anyone, any player in the world can lace a ball. All it is a good connection. Hit it and hope. Hey, you've got to buy a ticket to win the lottery. And he did, and he definitely won it. It was a fantastic goal. I'm taking nothing away from Rashford. And like you just said then, Jay, I was like, here we go. This is it. He's actually doing his talking on the pitch. And I thought, you know what? I was sort of, I succumbed to that goal in them two other key moments in that first half. First one, when Bruno plays him through and he heads the ball into the ground, 50p head. I was like, oh, inside I'm like, don't, because he's just scored a worldie and we are winning. Let's not go in on that too much. And I'm inside and thinking, that could come back later on to bite us. And then on the back stick, he has a complete air shot. Some people in my chat were saying, look, it was a difficult shot. No, it wasn't. No. He could have got something on the ball and he could have made something of it. He did absolutely nothing the whole game but put that thunderbolt in the first few minutes. And then he just seemed to sit back on his laurels and think, again, this is the mindset and the mentality that I was talking about with United. It's like, win a few games and we're all right, the pressure's off. Marcus Rashford, score a goal, pressure's off. I can just take it easy again right now. I'm hearing more and more pundits make excuses for him. And the injury had to bring him off. He's carrying a knock. He's gone through it just to get on that pitch for us today. I'm hearing Ten Hag was saying after the game, no, stop it now. That's not the case. We know it's not the case. It's basically a full-on protection mode for Marcus Rashford at the moment. He needed to do more. We cannot defend forever and a day and then just hope that something's going to happen. We can defend forever and a day if we have got someone who can hold the ball up and do something with it in the final third. And I'm going to come to you, Jay, where this game started to go wrong for us was when Rashford took a tumble after an arm on the shoulder and City went up the other end and got the equaliser. this game could have been so much different, Jay.
It could, but I didn't go back before that. Rashford avoiding one-on-one battles with Walker throughout the game.
Oh, yeah.
On Friday night show, we referenced the TV show, The Betweeners, and the character Jay, who almost talked, my namesake, unfortunately, almost talked a great game about his exploits and what he'd done, blah, blah, blah. What's Marcus for you? He's Jay from The Betweeners, talks a great game, finally pulls that one hot chick, and then for the rest of the game, he rests on his laurels for me, and he avoided those physical battles at Walker after that goal. Then, as you alluded to there, Adam, he goes down from a little push. You learned playing football at under 10 level, same as I did. You play the whistle. And our whole team didn't play the whistle. And then, boom, up pops Foden, 1-1. And Adam, even with your most red-tinted spectacles, we all know at 1-1, what happens to our players? Heads drop. And you know, at that point, the writing's on the wall. But that, for me, Adam, was a tipping point in the game.
That was it. Another thing that was important, and guys, get your thoughts and comments coming in. We've left the show a bit later tonight just so we can listen to the managers, listen to what they had to say. I thought that was important. Listen to what pundits and other people have had to say. Read the room a little bit in terms of how everyone's seen that game. Some still saying a positive. I heard Gary Neville say, look, at least I could see a plan there today. And then Roy Keane came back and said, does that not tell you how far we've actually dropped to standards? Manchester United, in the big games, you're expecting big performances, and we're praising them for sticking out a little bit longer and having a bit of shape and only being beaten 3-1. Yes, I understood, and they did come back and say, look, City are the best team in the world at the moment. That's fair enough. They had a fully fit squad. We didn't. That was against us. Ten Hag has alluded to that. I'm sick to death of him alluding to that, because next week we're going to see Liverpool with probably a similar amount of players missing and a totally different game to Manchester City that we played. But Pep Guardiola, in the press conference afterwards, when the interviewer said from Sky Sports that it looked like he was struggling, and he was nodding his head straight away. And I don't like Pep. I think he's arrogant. I think he's smug. Everyone knows how I feel about him. But in his words, he said, we weren't struggling. Yeah, we were losing from a great goal from Marcus Rashford, but we were never struggling. It's like he knew. And you felt that way, didn't you, Jay? The longer the game went on, you felt, unless we can pull off a miracle and defend and keep a clean sheet for the next 80 minutes against the best team on the planet on their own patch, then we are going to be in trouble here. I think the defining moment, you mentioned it off camera, Jay, they weren't struggling, City. They were still creating chances, but the floodgates pretty much opened when the outstanding, in my words, Johnny Evans was unfortunately forced off with an injury. You could tell he was injured, though, this time. That I felt really sorry for him. I think that was where the game swayed completely into City's favour, because we did lose all shape and organisation.
Yeah, up to, I think over here in the infamous notebook, which has made a bit of a comeback at popular demand, 68-minute Johnny Evans comes off. Up to that point, Johnny and Varane, it was like watching Maldini and Baresi in their prime. That defense in lockdown, and Casemiro sitting in front of them. Just the synergy between the three of them, City couldn't get through. And then Johnny goes off. Unfortunately, one of your favorite players, Lindelof, has to go up centre back. Dalot moves over to left back, and young lad Kambala, he comes on at left back. And then the whole paradigm of the game shifted just like that. I suppose it's an indictment of the weakness of our squad, that we are dependent on, and I love Johnny Evans, I have to preface that, I do like the player, but we're prefacing our back four on a 35-year-old player is the knit holding our back four together. He goes off, and tipping point number 2 in the game.
Do you know what, mate? That, for me, Camberwell coming on, felt really sorry for him. Phil Foden moved across to that side, moved away from Lindelof's side. He knew what he was doing. And then again, squad depth, quality in depth. Amrabat comes on, needlessly gives the ball away. Don't know what he was thinking or doing. And Manchester United are on the end of a result that probably was more fitting for the way that game went. I mean, 74% possession to 26. I think I pretty much nailed that. I think I went about 75-25, so I got that right. But the most depressing stat of all that I got from that, Jay, was Manchester City 27 shots to 2. 27-2. I think it was 15-2 in corners. Manchester United didn't even register a shot. Never mind, they've not hit the target this half. They've not pulled a trigger in this half. We literally did not get anywhere near Edison's goal. The only thing that Edison was talked about for doing in the second half was the scissor tackle, which he probably just about timed right on Garnacho. That was it, mate. There was absolutely nothing from United in that second half. And it was just a case of, again, like, we're in this game, let's just sit on it for me. And the more the game went on, the more it drained away from me, the hope that was there. It was just horrific, mate. The second half was, I don't know, because you've got to think there's tactics there from the manager, Jay, don't you? They've been sent out with a message, surely. You're 1-0 up in the Etihad, there's got to be a plan. But it didn't look like it. It was like, let's just see how long we can hold on for. That's it. That's United.
Okay, so the writing was on the wall from the first 90 seconds. City had 2 corners in 90 seconds. Daku was coming in on the low, exposing Bruno for what he is. Bruno, I thought today was abysmal. So on the right, Daku Doku was given Dallo a third time. First 90 seconds, 2 corners, and you're thinking, oh Jesus, they're going to score early, and heads are going to drop. Here we go. But to the credit of Varane, Casemiro, and Johnny Evans, we held out, and those 3 to me today were immense. I know they get a lot of flack. Onana, we got to give Onana his flowers as well today. Yep. For me, Adam, his best game in the shirt
100%
for me today. And we've called him out many times in the show. Maybe we've turned a corner with Onana, possibly. I hope we have. And yep. I want to be giving that man credit week in, week out if we can. But the stats don't lie. Was 74% possession versus 23%. Like, that's just abysmal. Another stat here, Adam, first half. City, 177 passes in the final third. United, 22. So at half-time, you or I are the manager, and we're looking at that stat. We're going to think, Jesus, lads, second half, they're going to come back at us. Plus the fact that you saw the camera shifting to Pep there, whatever he was doing with the fourth official before halftime. I think at halftime, he looked rattled to me. Yeah. He looked rattled at halftime. I know his post-match press conference, he's the cocky, arrogant individual that he is. At halftime, he looked rattled to me.
He did,
to
mate.
United at halftime, he did. However, go ahead.
There was a moment, and the camera picked it up, and I don't know if anyone noticed it, but there was a moment when Diaz made that mistake in bringing the ball down and Bruno played Rashford through. Pep Guardiola turned around and put his head in his hands and crouched down on the floor thinking, Rashford's clean through. Another mistake has cost City here. But and like you said, that fit spree that he was, I don't know what he was going on with that fourth official, but he was rattled, mate. He was rattled, and City were rattled themselves. You could see it in the fans. You could see it in the body language of the City players. All United had to do was come out with some form of plan in the second half that sort of jumped onto that and didn't give them that comfort blanket of this will come. We're just not even having to do anything. It was pitiful, Manchester United's second half. It really was. And the fan base that was there, the United fans that were there, it looked like there was no one there left in the end. They'd just given up again. It was like as soon as that first goal went in, the equaliser, you knew it was over. You knew it was over. The game was still in. We were all there talking, yes, we're still in it, but no, the writing was completely on the wall from the get-go. It really was. And do you know what? You get what you deserve in football. If you're not going to attack, if you're not going to if you're not going to have any sort of forward plan at all, or plan B, counter-attacking options, maybe we're going to have to just play Onana as a sweeper keeper, move this defence forward, stop going so deep. We were just playing into the hands of Manchester City. I know the injuries are there, Jay, but at the end of the day, I do feel like we just succumbed in the end. We just accepted that City were a better team, and we didn't give them anywhere near enough problems Another stat I'm going to get into in a minute, which really riled me. But City played a controlled slapping, one in a canter, says Alien, with the super chats. We've got our member in the house as well with a chat. I'm just getting through them all now. God, there's so many messages, guys. Thank you for tuning in and joining us. Block N2410. Defence good. Rafa was class. Frontline crap. I think a lot of people will agree with you on that one. Cheers for that. But it's been a member and renewed recently as well. Liam with a super chat. Thank you, mate. Your message didn't come through, but really appreciate the super chat. One yellow card, Jay. Not one angry tackle. I'm looking at Anthony waiting for Phil Foden to get up off the floor at the end of that game just to give him a cuddle to see him off. I'm like, what game are you playing here? It's like there was not one. I don't think there was one tackle, Jay. In terms of a tackle, I'm talking a tackle here.
Yeah.
There wasn't one in this game, and that was the biggest disappointment at all. It's like we didn't even ever get angry about what was going on. I didn't see no berating, I didn't see no organisation. And again, I'm going to come to it, and I say it every single time, no leaders on that pitch for United. Performance-wise, yes, but someone needs to take the game by the scruff of the neck and organise that team. Guys, as well, please give the video a like. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button as well. But no yellow cards, no rough and tumble, Jay. And the leader side of things, again, there's no one there, apart from concentrating on their own games, which a lot did have decent ones. No one really organised that team for me on that pitch. We didn't have no manager on the pitch, Jay.
Okay, on the yellow card thing, I tweeted before the game the famous quote by Woody John McBride. 1974 British and Irish Lions tour. He says, and I quote, "Get your retaliation in first." So it's a Manchester derby, lads. You know, as Roy Keane said himself, sometimes he's playing not so well in the game and he'd literally go and smash someone, just make himself feel better.
Yeah.
One yellow card. Yeah, you remember that quote? One yellow card in Manchester derby. It's unheard of.
No.
And you go, but leaders on the pitch. I could see it with Evans, Casemiro, and Varane. I could see that the collective between the three of them, but they're sitting so deep. They're not going to press it forward because they're told not to. But once you went into that midfield, it's divided leadership. Bruno Fernandes is not a leader. He was missing an action today. Yeah, and he was, Adam, you know, we have to call it, mate.
Yeah, no, honestly, mate, first half, I thought he was all right. He was keeping it simple. He was involved. He should have had 2 assists, but Rashford blew his second chance. But that's what I meant, mate. The second half, where was Bruno Fernandes? Where was Casemiro? Where were our leaders on that pitch? Where was our main man, the headline hunter? If you're with me, good. If you're not, better. Where was you in the second half? Because you weren't with us, Rashford, was you? You wasn't playing for Manchester United. You were thinking about, I've done my job, I've got my headline, and I'm going to put probably a post out about it later on social media. But no, second half, our senior players again disappeared off the planet for me. And it takes a lot more than just shouting a bit of organisation and abuse at people and going mad about certain things. I'm talking about actually organising this team, structuring them from within, telling them to stop playing scared. We looked scared shitless, Jay. We really did in that second half. We looked scared of Manchester City, inferior to Manchester City. And as a United fan, it absolutely destroys me to say it, that City outclassed us completely in every single department and deserved all 3 points. And where they are right now, we are 1 million miles behind them. And it's going to take some serious shaking. Question is to you, Jay, is he going to see any shaking? Are games like this a clear sign that Ten Hag isn't the man? The players that are on that pitch are not good enough? Or are you putting it down to we might have had a better chance if we had some injured players back? Say we had a Luke Shaw, a Martinez, a Rasmus Højlund. Would that have been a different game?
I'll go back to what Ralph said 2 years ago, open heart surgery. Mm-hmm. That team, that club needs open heart surgery, needs brain surgery, and it probably needs a liver and kidneys and lungs as well. To your point there,
transplants, mate. Full on transplants.
Like this team literally needs to go to the best plastic surgeon in California and get that full body makeover. Like walk in a 4 and come out a 9 out of 10. That's literally what it needs. And to your point in the second half about leadership, yeah, it needed somebody to literally grab that team by the scruff of the neck and organize. When you're sitting back on your own box for that long, you are inviting a team to come onto us. We invited it on. And also the point I'll make, you remember back in the day in our pomp, we go away from home and we would spank teams 3-4-1. It was a routine win. And the arrogance of Pep shows that I know the post-match, he gives out the usual bullshit about, United or this or that. No, that's all bull. He knew today he was getting 3 points. It was a matter of how many goals he'd score. And I think in a second half, those players were resigned to losing. It was a matter of how many you're going to lose by. And that is an indictment on the manager and the players.
Yeah. Totally agree on that one, mate. Tom Toms with the super chats. Love the channel, Adam. Watching from Dublin. Jay is a total hero too. Keep up the great work, lads. Thank you very much, Tom Toms. Really appreciate that. Guys, also, while I was doing the show today, I was bringing up the SofaScore app and all of the stats. That's where we've got all our stats from tonight, all of the player ratings, and interesting information around all of the players in that game. You need to look at it. That way, download the SofaScore app, bottom right-hand corner, scan that QR code on your screen there, guys, or drop in the description and just click on that top link, SofaScore. Get it downloaded. It's completely free. It tells you everything you need to know about where Manchester United are going wrong. You just have to trust me on that. Go and take a look at the stats in possession, out of possession. Look at the duels. Look at everything like that. This is where United are falling short. Sports science and everything that's involved and the details of this team right now and where we are falling behind. There's so much that needs to be done. An open heart surgery, I'm talking triple heart bypass, to be honest, with this team. There's so much wrong with the way that United's gameplay. Brian Duffy has just donated 10 memberships. What an absolute legend. I'm just going to have to dig out all of these new members now, which is an absolute pleasure, by the way. Thank you, Brian. Brilliant. Their new members are Alex, Araya, Sean, Dan, Common Sensei, Lee Parker, Michael Arthur, Sky G, Carizio. I think that is it. Sir Jim. Oh, Sir Jim's in the house. Sir Jim, I think that was everybody. What an absolute monster donation there from Brian. Really appreciate that, mate. Thank you so much. And please do enjoy the memberships, guys. It has been one of them days today where I feel United fans just succumbed to what was coming. I think Jay's missus is making tea or something there. I can hear plenty going on in the background.
You can hear the high heels in the backdrop, can't you?
They're like, oh yeah, I'm hungry.
Exactly.
But yeah, we sort of just succumb to the fact that our players are not good enough. So I'm going to go through this now with you, Jay. It's like, can you name me 5 players that you would keep out of that starting lineup today, going into next season?
Ooh, great question. So Garnacho, young kid, you keep him today. His lack of physicality, but that's easy to sort out. That was obvious today. He needs a summer with me in the gym. Basically, that's what I think. Or are you, Adam? 1 or 2 could sort him out with the summer. So keep him definitely. Dallo, I think he did okay. Dallo was coming to his own. I know he gets a lot of flack, but he's coming to his own. Obviously, Hoyland picks himself, but he's not in the pitch today. Apart from that, I'd like Casemiro for another season. Will he stay? I guess good as mine. Varane, he was great today, but the wages he's on, I don't think it's worth it. And if Onana keeps up that level of performance and builds on that level, I may have to eat my words on Onana. Apart from that, Adam, sell the rest.
This is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm bringing that up now because we brought Amrabat on in the second half there. Amrabat and Forson, I thought that was game over. That was it. That for me was the white flag from Ten Hag. Nothing against Forson. You can't expect a young lad who's barely played for the football club to come on and make a difference. And I think Amrabat scored 1 goal in like 2 years for club and country. He's just not that player. And that, for me, said everything. We don't have the golfing class. We don't have that squad depth. It was night and day compared to what City had at their disposal. The options that they had were, it's just a different level, isn't it, altogether? Like I said, but what you have to look at with United now is it's like, how many players can you bring in a summer? It is just, for me, an impossible task to get done in one summer, and how patient the fan base are going to be right now. Because there's players that I keep hearing from the fan base that just keep getting called out and called out and called out continuously all of the time, and are just being called out for not being good enough for Manchester United. And I think that is right. Super chat in for Nuwa Singh says, Adam, respectfully, I am fed up with this player. I'm guessing that is Marcus Rashford that you're talking about there. I'm pretty certain it will be. But I looked at Amrabat, I thought, no, straight away. Lindelof at the back. I think it's just too much, Jay, at the end of the day. I'm seeing the big concern for me is, and one that came up in the chat, and I want to get your opinion. And guys in the chat, let me know if you're on this sort of page at the moment. We're having a little bit of a concerning run for Garnacho at the moment. I'm not digging him out. I think he has got a future. But are we seeing the results of a poor mentality and a poorly run team hitting another quality player that has clearly got talent and is being affected by this now?
It's a great question. And I think the same has happened to Bruno, that when Bruno came in, he came with pomp and ceremony and great stats. Garnacho burst onto the scene after winning the Youth Cup a couple of years back, burst on the scene, and he's played now 22 games in a row. So has he been dragged down to the level of the rest of them, A? Or Garnacho has got his contract, and is the settings whereby young player bursts in, scores goals, gets assists, gets the contract, and then, okay, job is done, I rest of my laurels. Could that be a factor as well?
It could be. We've seen it happen before. I just look at Garnacho, and I've always been encouraged by Garnacho's work ethic. That's what's encouraged me continuously with Garnacho. I think he is one of them players that, even though it looks like he's dropping off, you know he's going to come back and do something. And that's just the encouragement I get from him. Mainu has dropped off a little bit recently. It's difficult for him, I think, more than anyone, because he's up in a midfield which just keeps chopping and changing constantly. And I honestly, like I said before, I think as soon as Rashford leaves, Garnacho will come into his pomp. Garnacho's best performances, Mainu's best performances, have been with the man in front of him and by the side of him. The infectious, work rate, animal, beast mode, which is Rasmus Højlund, a 21-year-old making his debut season for Manchester United. That brings out the best in Mainu and Garnacho. Look, when we are criticising Garnacho and Mainu, look at the games they're in and look who's missing. It's Rasmus Højlund. One 21-year-old is changing this team and turning us into a different animal just because of attributes that he's got that are simple and that everyone can have or use or train, which are work rate, never giving up, putting your body on the line, making it awkward. Every player can do this. They just choose not to. And that, for me, is the main problem with United. It's the players that just cannot be arsed doing it. That is it. And I do feel like without Rasmus Højlund in this team, we are going to go absolutely nowhere. We scraped by Nottingham Forest. We couldn't get anywhere near the goal against Fulham. And today, well, we had 2 shots. One of them was from 30 yards and a thunderbolt goal of the season contender. I don't know what the other one bleeding was, Jay. I thought they were making the stats up. I can't remember Edison having to make a bleeding save, but going forward, I said, I feel like the senior players have absolutely destroyed this team, and they are affecting the young lads coming through now. You can see it, Jay. It's horrible to watch and horrible to talk about. I'm not having a go at the younger players, but I can see the effect of everyone else and the bigger players and what it's having on them younger players right now.
Adam, yeah, I know you're not having to go at the younger players, and you touched there on Hoyland. He's what I would call a mentality monster
Yeah,
that would do
agree.
well in any team in any era of football. And it's been said many, many times that the class of '92, when they were being drift fed into the side, um, they had leaders and characters all over the pitch that could nurture them. Not so much on the pitch, but off the pitch, and how to live life as a pro, how to
Yeah,
recover from training, and the mentality and standards just were set by the senior pros. So if you're a kid 18, 19, 20, and you're looking at a Marcus Rashford as your example, I'm sorry, that's a very, very, very poor example. If you're looking at a Bruno that's running around the pitch, sulking, moaning referees, you have other individuals like Scott McTominay who will run away from a tackle. And Scott today as well, I want to touch on. He's a big chap. He's a big lad. He today, what is he now? He's there since the Joe's era. He's there, what, 6, 7 years? He should be leading today. I'm not saying that, he's a natural born leader, but he's there now long enough. He's grew up at the club to Manchester Derby. He should lead by example today. So you're a young kid in that club. Who do you look up to? And that is the problem we have going forward. And that's the point that you raised there about Hoyland. Without Hoyland in that side, I think Menu and Garnacho are like literally a ship without a rudder. And I'm never going to go in hard on Menu or Garnacho. They're young kids. They're learning their trade.
but people will
But
turn
there
on them
has,
eventually, mate. It's not completely their fault.
yeah, yeah. It's not fair. I'll turn on the senior players because we expect more from them. That they're in the club. If you played 100 games of professional football for any club, you're I won't say senior pro, but you're a seasoned pro, and you know the standards that have been set by the manager and your teammates. So you set the standard and you live by it. The young players then have to raise their game to the standard. But if the standard's not there collectively from the senior pros or seasoned pros, the young lads, they haven't a hope. So
Mm.
I don't like anybody on social media going in on the young players. It's not fair.
No, it isn't. They haven't been given the right chance. I just want to get through a few super chats. Charlie, not football, but what are the numbers on the medals? In terms of the membership things, I think you're going on about there, Charlie. It's just the amount, it's the levels in the membership scheme. You can choose whichever one you want. Some are just contributing a little bit more than others. John, as said, McTominay played well, won the ball back often. I disagree, John. I think he was very, very average, to be honest. MDR Samurai, thank you for that super chat. Cheers, mate. Smash the like and subscribe button. Forever United. Yes, mate. Loving that one. Thank you so much for the support. Nuising as well says, question to you both. Did we score that screamer too early, which made us parking the bus too early for entire match, like 80 minutes? There is a chance. There is that old age saying in football, Jake. Did you score too early? It goes alongside the most dangerous score in football is that when you're at 2-0. So, yeah, what do you reckon, Jay? Was that just too early for us? Did it sort of effectively determine how we were going to play for the rest of the game?
It's a great question. If anything, that goal being scored that early, I think the players were looking at each other thinking, Jesus, lads, we scored. We didn't expect that.
Everyone's like, shit, we're winning. Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah. And I think there possibly was a little bit of that. The game plan obviously was we were going to sit tight because we had to sit tight. There's no question about it. We weren't going to open up to Man City and play man to man. We could not do that. We score early. I was like, geez, lads, what happens next? So there was a little bit of that. Of course there was.
Yep. Guys, if you have put your questions and your comments in, sorry if I've not read it out, get in there right now. This is your part of the show. Get your comments in the live section. Now, I'm just going to scroll up a little bit. and just stop it right there. Imagine having a job. You show up one day in 9 months and you are hailed as a superstar. That's Rashford. Tell me, in the 90s, do you think he would even make our bench? Well, no, because there weren't as many subs on in them days. Just a smart answer. I'm sorry. Sorry, Zed Mac. But no, I don't. Standards have changed. Standards are different. The game was different then. But yeah, that mentality, I feel, in players is there all too often now. And I think it is a recipe for disaster, personally. Hi, Adam and everyone in the chat. Live love from Dublin. Thanks for that, Shane. Let me see now what else we've got in here. Let me just see. Someone saying Nacho need to take a bench. Playing too much, says Rajat. Garnacho needs to take a bit of time out. Mr. Miracle. He's talking to someone else. Razvis reminds me of Stuart Pearson. Who remembers him, says Brian Duffy. Some of the old school will. Scotty is like playing a man down, says Giorgio. Not going to overhype Menu. What did he do? He had a tough game against a very, very good Chelsea midfield, unfortunately. Sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, you're up against better players and our players are not fully developed and ready yet. That's what you have to say. The young players need a seasoned Premier League coach to guide them. Could well be happening in the summer. You don't know. We should have got an experienced striker in January to cover for Højlund. Again, the club not backing Ten Hag, Adam and Jay. Not backing in the summer. Not backing in January. I feel like that's a big point pushing towards Ten Hag losing his job in the summer as well, Jay. The fact that they didn't back him in January, for me, knowing where injuries were going, how short he was squad-wise, I feel like that's a sign as well, mate.
Okay, just rewind a little bit about backing managers in January. The season that we finished second when Solskjaer bottled the Europa League final, I was crying out for us to sign another centre back in January to cover up for the frailties of Harry Maguire. We didn't do that either. Previously, when we've backed managers in January, we got luminaries such as Igalo. So back to that gentleman that actually, who was available in January that we could have got even on loan to play as backup for Højlund.
That's the problem, mate, isn't it? It was like no one was going to come in that was going to dislodge Højlund. It was just going to be another make weight again. I think they've just seen the issue with the Vegas sort of signing and went, we just cannot go down that embarrassing road again, even though he played his part in somewhat, in some cases, but still, it was, I think, Manchester United not wanting to get tarnished with that brush of just the desperation signings again in January. That's what I thought it was and why we didn't. Because according to the financial experts, the money was there for United and it was a bit of a cover-up in terms of us saying that we couldn't because of financial fair play. So I don't know if more will be made of that in time. It will come to the conversation again if United end up missing out on the Champions League this season, because the question will always be, look, there was that spell when Rasmus was missing. You lost 2 games in a row in the Premier League. That could be what you miss out point-wise from making the Champions League places. Do you regret not bringing another striker in at that time? Ten Hag will say, well, yeah, because it's going to back my defence up and my poor managerial performance this season. And the club will say, well, you're gone, so we don't really care, and he's out the door. That's what you've got. Well, that's the scenario coming.
Well, Adam, to that point, when Højlund was signed originally, he had a back injury, so he couldn't do pre-season. He couldn't start the season in August. His striker available was Martial, who stumped the place out in Sevilla. So essentially, Ten Hag started the season with no recognised striker.
Yep.
What do you think was going to happen? That's on a manager, my friend.
That is it, yeah. It really is. And you wouldn't have expected anything different than what we're seeing right now, except maybe less defeats. I mean, 11 is a catastrophe. It really is. Like, people are like making excuses up now for United, I feel. It's like we are 11 defeats down. We've still got Arsenal and Liverpool to play. I can see us losing another 3/4 games this season easily, and that's not going in on the team or just saying it in a negative, overly negative way. That's just a reality. It really is. I'm worried about Everton at weekend, and they're in the pits. Like, they'll be coming to United thinking, This is the chance of us getting some extra points here, or even a point. Super chat in from
Yeah.
Shenanigans says, least shots any team has had versus City this season, and second least shots United have had in any game since records began. We were awful. Ouch. That hurts,
Ooh.
Jay.
Wow, that's a very poor indictment. I honestly, I'm actually stunned to actually hear that, Adam. I'm actually stunned.
That's
And
bad,
thanks to
isn't
the
it?
gentleman that raised that point. That's shocking.
It is. Someone's been on SofaScore and got that one dug out. My God, that is horrendous. I'm just going to get into some more of the chat. Defo scored too early. It gave them ammunition and motivation to turn up the heat. That was from Mel. Paul Greaves says, what are the small margins Eric Ten Hag is talking about? It's a massive margin that we need to improve by. It's going to bring up a quote from Ten Hag as well. Let's read it out. Ten Hag confirms Rashford carrying a knock, Evans too. I had to take them both off. They fought to be part of this game, but after 60, 70 minutes, we had to take them off. It was not our advantage. Johnny was playing brilliant. Rashi was a threat. Rashford was a threat in the second half. Are you taking... This is like someone else said, I think it was Mel again in the chat, or someone said it not too long ago. Ten Hag's comments in press conferences are just nailing his coffin shut. He's watching a totally different game. He even said, when you're in full flow, any touch can send you over. Kyle Walker tapped Marcus Rashford on his shoulder and he went down like a sack of spuds. That's what he went down like. It wasn't a case of he got nudged as he was in full sprint. He went down deliberately. He dived. He probably should have got a yellow card for the dive, if you're asking me. And it sounds like I'm being... And I've had a bit of a gripe for Rashford. I have, but I've always been willing to back him on the pitch. And I was bouncing around like everyone else was when he scored that goal. I thought this was the moment. But then again, he just gives me more fuel to go in on him because of his attitude. It's like I've done my job. It doesn't matter now. Everyone's going to be talking about my goal and how close United came. If our defence could have held on, then we might have been all right. I might have been talking about a winner. But no, he just wasn't willing. He was not willing. But them comments from Ten Hag, Jay, I mean, saying that Marcus Rashford was a threat, he's not helping himself, is he?
Yeah, the only threat Marcus Rashford was to his own teammates today. That goal was standing. Look, that's the same Ten Hag that took off Toby Menu at half time. I can't remember, was it a month ago? And brought on Scott McTominay, and we can see against Forest, yeah, and we conceded 2 goals. Forest away, and Menu was, I think, a 7 out of 10. Half time he comes off, on comes Scott, more points dropped. Forest away. So anything Ten Hag says at a press conference, Adam, I take with a pinch of salt. And the very fact that he said Rashford was a threat today, that tells you all you need to know about that man's level of delusion.
Yep. Gaya says, a super chat, thank you for that. Garnacho needs Højlund in the team to be his best. I agree with that one. I really do agree with that one. Sejin says, young Washer was poorly back. He's one for the future. Young Washer. I don't know what that is or who that was. Oh, you mean Willie? I don't know. He was lamb to the slaughter in that back line. It was like pure onslaught moment, and Camberwell again. I feel sorry for him because the 2 games that he's played, it's been when United have just been like on their ass defensive wise. Like, you cannot lose this many players. I understand that, and there is a massive element of that in this that we have to take into consideration. Like, we are down to the bare bones. It is desperate for United right now. Guys, please give the video a like. Let's get it up to 400, please, guys. We're nearly there. Just another 45 likes and we're in the bag. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's painful talking about this, but I think what we'll do to finish up, Jay, we'll just go through a player rating quickly to finish. I've not done a player rating show. I've kind of wanted to just do this as like a bit of a joint venture with yourself, and I forgot last time, so let's do it now. And guys in the chat, join in with us as well. Get your numbers in as we go through it. Super chat in from Alien. Eric Ten Hag meant Rasha is a threat to getting him sacked. Yes, I totally agree with that super chat, Alien. Well said. And That might be where Ten Hag was actually going. But number one, our goalkeeper, I thought straight out, Jay, everything he did perfectly today. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. I don't think that's too much. You lost 3-1, Adam. What are you on about? He couldn't have done anything with the goals. The first ones to finally beat him was a humdinger from Foden, let's be honest. I'm giving him a 9 out of 10. I thought it was his best game in the United shirt. I thought he was outstanding today, me.
I can't disagree with anything like that. 3-1, 3 goals conceded. Can't blame him for any of the goals. Distribution. I know that's why he was signed. I think distribution today was the best distribution I've seen from him. 9 out of 10, maybe a bit too much because I have somebody else get to 9 out of 10, so I'm going to give him 8.5, Adam.
Okay. 8-7's coming in, 6.5 for UK strains. That's a bit harsh, I think. Okay. But hey, you get your numbers in. That's up to you. Dallo, I thought steady, 6.5 out of 10. Thought decent for most of it today. Kind of struggling because he is the only fit fullback at the moment. He's been moved from pillar to post. 6.5 for me, Jay.
Look, he's moved left back, right back, intermittently, 6.5. You can't really go in on him. He's playing City away. 6.5, solid.
Solid. Varane, 8 out of 10 for me. I thought he was outstanding today. I thought he dealt with Haaland well. Unfortunately, Amrabat dropped him in it in the end and gave Haaland his goal. I thought Varane deserves all praise. I thought he was a leader at the back today.
Yeah, Varane led by example. He's not called Rose White's Brown for nothing. Solid 8 out of 10.
Yep. Evans, until he went off, was up there with him as well. I've got to give Evans an 8 simply because he would have carried on and still been immense for us. So, 8 out of 10 for Evans as well for me. You, Jay?
Call me biased, Adam, and you probably will, but Evans is my 9 out of 10. I thought he was the best player we had today.
He was outstanding, mate. Honestly, he was absolutely superb. And then Lindelof, I thought, struggled, was pulled from, again, I'll say the phrase, pillar to post, moved around everywhere. It's not his position. 6.5 for me. I thought he was okay. He dealt with what he could, but Foden is outstanding. So, sadly, it was the wrong type of player to be up against. But 6.5 for Lindelof for me, I think, Jay.
Yeah, he's throwing it deep in there, playing left back against Foden. He's going to get the run around. He didn't really do anything wrong, so give him 6.
6 out of 10. Yep. Into midfield, captain Bruno Fernandes. Good first half, poor second for me. I think a 5 is fair for Bruno.
Second half 2, first half 6, so 4 overall.
4 overall for Bruno for you. Keep your scores coming in, guys. We're going through them thick and fast to finish off the show. McTominay, I thought 4 out of 10 today. Poor game for him. Out of his depth, in all honesty. He just didn't look like... I'm not saying this in a mean way. He just didn't look like he belonged to me there. The class of City showed him up for his qualities. It sounds like I'm being really harsh saying that, but the gulf was huge. And if United need to catch up, it's not with a player like McTominay starting a game. A decent squad player, but out of his depth for today, 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I got to go with that. Never been a fan of him. If you're a player you want to spring off the bench with 10 minutes to go and stick him in the box to cause rumptions against centre backs, put him on. But he's definitely not a starter on midfield, 4 out of 10.
No. Tommy Brooks in with a super chat. Cheers for that, Tommy. Says, thought we was onto something tonight, mate. Just showed the levels. Frustrating, but we move on. Love the content. Salford and Sydney. Thank you for that, Tommy. I really appreciate that super chat. And all the other super chats and new members tonight as well. And to the other midfielder, Casemiro, I thought was good in the first half and then struggled a bit towards the end. I thought he'd have been the one that was leading in that second half, but he just seemed to sink deep like the rest. I'm going to give Casemiro a 6. I thought it was good, but could have been better, mate.
Look, I've always been a big fan of Casemiro from his Madrid days. I can't give more than a 6. And you said there, second half, we want a leader. And unfortunately, he didn't step up, and I really thought he would. So 6 out of 10.
Yeah, no. Into the front line, we'll go with Garnacho first. Sadly, a 3 out of 10 for me. I don't mean that's me slagging him off like he's not good enough. It was just one of them days where you're coming up against the best. He didn't have support around him. Not his fault, the score, but he really did not affect the game in any way, shape or form for me, Jay.
Look, he's a young kid. I'm not going to go into kids. I said it in the video. 3, 4 to 10. He's going to improve. Maybe in 2, 3 years' time, he'll go at the Etihad and rip it up.
Yep. Shenanigans in with another super chat. Says Ten Hag has 1 year left on his deal, and I don't think Ineos will risk a new contract. They need to start talks with alternatives now, with other big clubs looking. It's true, very true. On to Marcus Rashford. Thanks for the super chat, Shenanigans. Really appreciate it, mate, as always. Rashford, for me, he gets a 5 because he scored a goal. That's it. The rest of his game, not there, not enough, nowhere near enough effort. Didn't want it enough for me. And Ten Hag has given him the get out of jail card again by saying he was carrying a knock. I'm not letting him off. 5 out of 10, even with one of the goals of the month.
Very difficult to judge Rashford today. The goal's 10 out of 10, but I think the people in Sky Sports said there's a 1 in 30 chance that goal goes in. I think they ran stats on it. Goal's 10 out of 10. His overperformance probably 3, so therefore I'm going to go with 3.
Yeah, that's fair enough. We forgot Kobe Mainoo in the middle. Again, I thought he struggled today big time. I'm going to give Kobe a 4 out of 10. Not his fault again. Not having a go at him. But when you've got players like Casemiro picking up 5s, Rashford picking up 4s, 5s, there's no hope for you. There really isn't, is there? So, yeah, I think Kobe, 4 out of 10. He did some all right bits, especially first half. Read the game quite well, I thought. But he's coming up against Rodri, De Bruyne, Foden, Bernardo Silva. It is a tough order. And he got no support again, but not his fault.
No, that midfield battle today, it was men v boys. So unfortunately, I can't give him any more than 5 out of 10.
Yep. No, that is it. We're not going to get into the subs. There's no real point in doing that. They're not going to be high scores anyway, but we just passed over the 400 like mark. We've had over 1,500 people in the room with us tonight, guys. It's been absolutely immense. All the new members, all the super chats, all of your comments. We will be back tomorrow again, getting more of your thoughts on this game and all the other news around United. We'll make it a bit more of an interactive show as well. We had a lot to get through tonight, and I really appreciate your patience and staying with us through the whole show. It was brilliant. One good thing that came out of the day was this community here on Forever United TV. Like I said the other day, we smashed over 40,000. We're already on the road to 41. 50k is in our sights, guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you do subscribe if you are loving the content. I know you are because you've tuned in and there's been thousands of you that's done it today. So don't forget to press that subscribe button, people. Download our SofaScore app if you want to get all the information about what we were talking about, all of the in-depth stats, ratings and everything from the players. Look how close mine and Jay's scores were to the ones on that app. It's free, guys. It's free. It's the best app out there stat-wise. Trust me. In-depth-wise anyway. Get on it. Download it. Link is in the description or scan the QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen there, guys. It is the best out there. Rated in the top 20. That's what it is. I know I didn't have to go blonde or dye my hair because United won. So thanks for bringing it up, guys, and reminding me. But I did dodge a bit of a bullet at the end of the day, didn't I? But, Jay, give the people a shout-out to where they can catch you on your socials and TikTok and everything else, please.
So it's a real Jay Daly on TikTok and JD Mourinho on X, but I keep calling it Twitter. Guys, thanks for watching. These shows are never easy, but we do it for you guys. So thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated.
No problem at all, Jay. Well said. And guys, that is us all done and dusted. Another game weekend is over. Another Derby Day defeat for Manchester United. Questions will be asked. Pressure will start mounting. We've got a week off before Everton next Saturday. A very busy day. That is also going to be. What's going to happen with Ten Hag? Is the pressure going to start mounting? We'll discuss all of the news coming out this week as we always do. Starting tomorrow, we'll join you all there. And for now, that is it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Give the video a like on your way out. Subscribe and do share the video as well, guys. Get your comments in after the video finishes on live. If you miss your chance in the live show, that's it. Guys, bad day at the office. We move on. Tomorrow's a new day. We'll see.